Hail and well met friends, Andang here for a news video. The Bulwer server did go up today with patch 17.1, which introduced a ton of things like balances to PvP and a bunch of other stuff. But one of the more interesting things is that there is, all of a sudden, the Blessing of the Valar, a new item that's in the LOTRO store that will let you instantly level to 95. This was not pre-announced. There was no indication that this was going to happen. It's just all of a sudden in the LOTRO store. Keep in mind, this is on beta, so it is not in the actual LOTRO store yet. And, if everyone reacts poorly to this, then I'm sure they would take it down or adjust the cost or, whatever the issue is, I'm sure they'd react to it. That being said, I don't know if that kind of reaction is necessary. As you can see, I created a level 1 character here. There's Strider that will never ever see me because I'm going to 95. And so you can see here in the store, I searched for Valar, and it pulled up Blessing of the Valar. Now, if you're already over level 95 and you're wanting 95 gear or something like that, you can't get it from this. It won't be available for you to purchase in the store if you're 95 or over. So just keep that in mind. That's the same way the Gift of the Valor works. If you're over 50, you can't buy it either. So anyway, basically the Blessing of the Valar is exactly the same as the Gift of the Valar. It gives you armor, legendary items is new because that wasn't a thing before. And so, it's cool that they have that, and they have a bunch of other things. One weird thing is that they have a 1 gold piece and 800 silver pieces. And so that's kind of strange that it's such a low amount of gold. But I guess that's to help keep the very fragile LOTRO economy in place. And so anyway, there's, armor, all sorts of other stuff. You get the item, of course. You get riding skills. You get a steed of the Citadel, which is the new Gondor steed, which makes sense because by leveling to 95, you will already be done with Rohan, essentially, as far as levels go, and ready to go on into Gondor. So it makes sense that they have a Gondor-related steed that is packaged with that. And then there's also a bunch of morale stuff. And what I find kind of comical is that there's 5 100% XP boosts in case level 95 is just not high enough and you really need to get to level 100 instantly. Well, you can with the XP boosts that are included in this, because really the instant level to 95 was just too slow. You need that extra XP. There's also 3 single-use maps, one to Rivendell, Aldburg, and Snowbourne, plus you get 25 Mithril coins. And this is all priced at 6,000 turbine points, which is about $60 US. That's quite a lot of money, but at the same time, you are going to level 95. This does include a ton of gear, and really just all these items by themselves, if you were to try to buy their equivalent, obviously you can't do the armor thing, but if you're trying to buy their equivalent and what we assume level 95 gear would cost, it would be more than 60 bucks just there alone, plus you get the level 95 increase, the increase to level 95. So, when you take all that into account, it seems more reasonable. The question is, who is this for? Because if you're a new player coming into LOTRO, I think the last thing I would recommend, and maybe they'd want to go back with alts or something like that, but I think the last thing I would recommend is going straight to 95. There is so much to learn about LOTRO, and LOTRO is really about the journey. There's so much great story, so many good quests, and with the rebalancing of Evendim and some other zones, it's really nice to be leveling up through LOTRO. Lone Lands is a little bit slow, but other than that, there's a pretty easy path up to at least Moria. And once you get to the other side of Moria, it's great again. So I'm not sure who this is for, because if you already have gotten to level 100, then you probably have people who could help power level you pretty fast. probably within 2 weeks, maybe even a week, depending on, how much you play, you could get to level 95 if you really wanted to. And you would have a lot of turbine points that you would be able to spend. So it seems kind of weird that this item is here. If you really want to get another character to level 95 so that you can be writing with your characters because they need a minstrel and you need something, then that's great. Or if you're a new player and everybody, all your friends are in Gondor and you really want the Blessing of the Valar, then you can get it as well. Just know that, at least in my opinion, you're missing some of the best parts of LOTRO. Because LOTRO is typically not considered to be an end game MMO. It's typically considered to be a story MMO, which there are not very many of, especially that do story well. And LOTRO is one of the few MMOs that does story amazingly, and it is definitely about the journey. And so, if you really want to get to level 95, and you have 60 bucks just burning in your pocket, this is a great item to get. If you have an alt that you want to level up, this is a pretty good item to get. And, there are a few other reasons I can think of, but for me personally, I don't think I will ever or would have ever wanted to buy an item like this, especially now knowing how LOTRO is, where it's really about the journey. One other thing I would like to point out about on the cost is that the expansions, if you were to add them up at normal cost, you can get the quad pack for $40 to LOTRO in the LOTRO store. And then let's say you spend 20 bucks on zones before that, which would not be hard. That would be the cost of the Blessing of the Valar. And, everything I mentioned does not include the content after the Blessing of the Valar. So if you factor that in as well, if you, never have any desire to play those lower level areas, then this item is, that much better because you're saving a ton of money on expansions that you would probably want if you were leveling. So overall, I think that for players who are interested in it, Blessing of the Valar is a fantastic item. I just personally will never get it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to give it a thumbs up in the spot below, and let me know in the comments what you think of the Blessing of the Valar and the Gift of the Valar. Also, Gift of Valar has been reduced by 1,000 turbine points to 40 bucks. So, that's great for people who are just wanting to get to level 50. Gift of the Valar is now that much cheaper. So, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again real soon for more beta coverage. But till then, thank you guys so much.